The prophet Isaiah, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has dawned upon you." I speak to you in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I have two Epiphany stories today. They speak of two very different Epiphany truths. Couldn't decide which story to use and which truth to tell, so you're getting them both. Story number one: there was once a king whose goal it was to be in absolute and total control of his domain and his people. He succeeded in every aspect of that goal, bar one. There was one obstacle, and that is that the people still held their ancient God above their earthly king. It was driving the king mad. He decided that he would bring his three wisest advisors to him and to ask them what he should do. Where can we hide this ancient God so that it vanishes from the people's lives and ceases to be an obstacle to my complete dominion, my complete and total control? Well, they thought for a bit, and the first advisor said, we could put the ancient God at the highest summit in the kingdom, thousands and thousands of feet above the people. The king thought for a moment and said, no, that won't work. I know these people. They will leave their families and their livelihoods, and they will go and climb until they find that ancient God. The second advisor said, well then, let's hide the God in the depths of the ocean. And again, the king said, no, they will leave their villages, they will go, they will search, they will plumb the depths until they find their ancient God. Finally, he turned to the third, the oldest and wisest of the advisors, who very quietly and calmly suggested that they hide the ancient God right in the midst of the people, right in the midst of their everyday, ordinary lives. He said they will never find it there, and that's exactly what he did. The Epiphany truth is that Jesus is born among us, right in the midst of our everyday lives. Jesus is hidden among us. The season of Epiphany and the feast of Epiphany is about making Christ known. Epiphany literally means revelation, Christ revealed, Christ made known. Story number two. A great friend of the old famous poet Carl Sandburg loved having the poet visit him in his home, and he tells a story that one morning they are sitting at the breakfast table and the poet is searching for something in his pockets, and as he's searching, he's pulling out scraps of paper and placing them on the table. And it was amusing. His friend and said, Carl, what are these? They had words and 2 or 3 lines on each of the scraps, and they were old and they were yellow. They were a lip of an envelope, the back of a calendar, the cardboard at the bottom of a notepad. And Carl said, these are scraps of poems that I carry around with me. And his friend began opening them and reading them one by one out loud, and he said, Carl, these are magnificent. Have you published these? And he said, no. Well, why haven't you? They're marvelous. The world needs to see these. And Carl responded, I am not through with them yet. The poem is not ready to be published. The Epiphany truth is that the birth of Jesus, the mystery of the incarnation, is an unfolding mystery. It doesn't happen all at once. The Feast of Epiphany, the season of Epiphany, is about that unfolding. Epiphany literally means revelation. Jesus is revealed to us over time. Now, these truths, of course, are reflected in the scriptures. In Luke's gospel, we hear the story of Jesus' birth. You remember at the end when the angels' song is finished and the shepherds return to their flocks, Mary, who has taken all of this in, all of these miraculous events, and what does she do? She ponders them in her heart. These memories become fragments folded and put away as the mystery of the incarnation unfolds. The poem is not ready to be published. And then today's story is the centerpiece of the feast. It is the beginning of this season, that wonderful story of the Magi, the wise ones from the east. And remember that they are following the cosmic signs. It is a star that leads them to Jesus. And when they find him, notice what happens. They just don't see the Holy Child. They recognize the Holy Child. The Holy Child is revealed to them. They can look in the face of Jesus and see the face of God. It is an epiphany. It is a great epiphany, but the first of many epiphanies, greatest yet to be revealed. We look at the calendar, the church calendar. We are through with Christmas. Last night was 12th night. Today is Epiphany. Finished, done. But the truth is, we are not finished with Christmas. And Christmas is not finished with us. We have a role in this unfolding of the mystery of the incarnation that continues to unfold in the world around us, this Jesus hidden in our midst. And I borrow the words of that great African-American theologian and poet, Howard Thurman. He was a spiritual mentor to Martin Luther King and wrote these beautiful words in a poem called The Work of Christmas. When the song of the angel is stilled, when the star has gone from the sky, when the kings and princes have gone home, when the shepherds have returned to their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild nations, to bring peace among people, to make music in the heart. The work of Christmas is our work, to know Christ and to make him known. Rise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has dawned upon you. I speak to you in the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.